college
Yeah,
football games I've been to in my life, and I'm just waiting for what it's going to be in the next month. It's going to be, whew, there's going to be some passing out, and there's going to be just a lot of sweat pouring in and out of Neyland Stadium in the next month. But look, that's what we're here for.
colorful way to put it.
Ethan, when we switch gears here a little bit quickly on Vols basketball, case for and against series here. Starting Dalton Knecht. When you think about this roster, and we're going to throw in a healthy Sakai here, like when Sakai is healthy, when you look at the makeup of this team, why do you think Dalton Knecht should end up being a starter and being one of his Coach Barnes's main five, or why do you think he should not and he should be viewed maybe in a Tyreek Key role more so? Which way do you lean right now?
I'll make both cases, but the case for I'll take the words right out of Barnes's mouth. His versatility. I mean, I don't think this is the standard necessarily 3-and-D guy that Barnes has gone to the portal and gotten lately. I think he would surprise a lot of people with how physical he is. I think he is a better ball handler than people would think he is. He's more than just a three-point shooter, even though he is a dang good three-point shooter. I think he was 39% last year at obviously Northern Colorado. It's going to be a little bit tougher moving into the SEC against SEC defenses, and he's probably going to drop a little bit in production there, but he's still a good three-point shooter with a good shot, and he has the versatility to kind of be able to move around him more. I mean, I think the lineup for Tennessee basketball, you saying that Zakai is healthy in this scenario, would be Zakai, Santi, you put Dalton at the 3 with Josiah at the 4 and then Toby at the 5. I think that'd be so much fun. I think that gives Tennessee a lot of different things they can do because of Dalton's versatility, because how Josiah has proven that he can play at the 4. Toby's growth just in general, I feel like at the 5 would be interesting, kind of playing more of a small ball thing, but you still have enough length and athleticism with Josiah and Knecht that at the 3 and the 4 that you can probably see some positive things on both the offensive and defensive side. I don't really I'm kind of in the dark on how I guess attuned Knecht is to the you got to play defense or you're not going to play here thing. I don't really know where he stands right now. I don't know if he's a good defender, if he's a great defender, if he's a poor defender. I can't really read I guess things from practice too much. What I've gotten is that at Northern Colorado, he's a pretty good defender, but that's at Northern Colorado. I mean, you got to move that up when you're going against SEC level competition, against Arkansas, Kentucky's, Texas A&M's of the world. It's going to be a little tougher. As far as the case against him starting is everything Rick Barnes has ever shown about how he makes his lineups, which is, I mean, he's going to go with what he's familiar with. He's going to go with the guys that he trusts. He's going to go, I mean, what I said, I think I've said on this show before, that it's very likely going to be Zakai, Santi with Josiah at the 3, Tobe at 4, and then Jonas Adu at the 5. It's a traditional look, and it's something that Barnes just likes. It's something that he's comfortable with, and that would be the case against, is just Barnes likes who he's got. He likes his, I guess, the familiarity of the people that he has, and he knows he can trust them, and he can walk them out there, and they're going to play good defense, and they're going to play, I guess, to his style, and they're going to do what he says. And that would be my case against, because it's not exactly like Barnes unless you're just oozing with talent to be able to kind of switch things up like that.
So your case against is more so Barnes' track record than anything.
Yeah. I think Knecht is. I mean, it's just so tough because he's coming over from North Colorado, but I do think he is a good starting option for this team if you go away from what Barnes usually likes to do.
No, he is. But I think the bigger case against is Jahmai Mashack.
That's a good one.
You made a lot of good points, Ethan, in what you said. Josiah's ability to play the 4, I think, is really strong. I think Tobe Awaka is Tennessee's best post player this year. But Jahmai Mashack's what he did last year and how he also fits what Barnes likes, the deep defender through and through. I think he plays that 3 and Josiah plays the 4. And then Zakai and Santi at the 1, too. I could see a path where Knecht starts over James, maybe, but I don't know. I feel like Jahmai Mashack has earned his spot in the starting 5, and he's going to be a starter for Tennessee this season. Maybe they go big with Awaka and Adu still. It's not a lot of offense in that 5, but we'll see. I don't know. I feel like I'd lean more so on the side of Knecht doesn't start for Tennessee, at least early on in the season, non-conference play. Maybe he does in conference play. We'll see how it always shakes up. Something happens. But I think Jahmai Mashack is going to be a big factor for Tennessee basketball this season, no matter which way you slice it.
I would 100% agree with Jack for what it's worth. I would say if you had to say right now who's it going to be, is he going to start? I would make the case against. And I do think it's a good point that he brought up that Jahmai would probably in that scenario, even if we wanted to go the kind of small ball approach, I think I'd agree that he would go Jahmai just because, like I said, he's familiar with him. He's a great defender. He's shown that he can be a great defender. And he's also shown the versatility that he could do the 1, 2, or the 3, Jahmai. Mm-hmm. So I would agree with that. Yeah.
Well, it's also like it's a good sign if it's not Jahmai for Dalton because that means he beat out Jahmai. Like he's playing better. He earned Barnes' trust. Like I think Jahmai is like to more of Jack's point here. Like I think he's going to get benefit of the doubt for what he did last year. Like I think it's his job to lose. Like Dalton is going to have to play better defense. He's going to have to score more, and there's going to be a fine balance. I think that's going to be part of it. Is like Barnes is going to have to find. Because a lot of these guys, I mean, Mashack has a lot to be desired on the offensive end. Tobe Walker has a lot to be desired in the offensive end. And, like, they're going to have to play. Like, what if Dalton Knecht has a lot to be desired in the defensive end? What if Freddie DeLeon leaves a lot to be desired in the defensive end? Like, I think he's just going to have to... He's going to have to be very careful with how he organizes this rotation. And I wonder, too. I would say that Dalton does not start, but I would not be surprised if he's a starter in January because Barnes is going to start Jahmai, Jonas, and Tobe, and it's always going to be like the first 4 minutes of the game, and we're just all in the group chat like, oh, who would have thought that it was 2-0 4 minutes into this game, and there's just an absolute rock fight, but they're already the other team's exhausted because they're like, can you please, like, this is not basketball. I don't know what this is. Friend of the pod, Jay Billis, can't watch it. He's like, this is too much. This isn't basketball. And we're gonna get that all year long with some of the lineups that Barnes throws out. But like, I think the starting 5 will be DeLeon, Santi.
Was Cai hurt? Yes.
Was Cai? Well, hold on. I was gonna say too. Oh. I think DeLeon and Santi play well together. And I think if they play well, Barnes was very open about, like, I did not want to start Cai. Like, we all remember the Colorado experiment last year.
I think he was like that for a while, and then he wasn't towards the end, though.
Yeah, for sure. But like,
looking at you crazy, Chase. But I actually kind of agree with you. That's a good point because Cai plays better off the bench. He just does. He just does. So that's not a bad point. I don't hate the take.
I think my gut is I think DeLeon and Santi. DeLeon should theoretically, with what we look, and he's bigger than I thought he was going to be. Like watching those practice videos on Rocky Top Insider, go subscribe to the YouTube page if you haven't already. DeLeon's big. Like he's a lot bigger than I thought. He's long, he's lanky, and I think he is someone as a combo guard more than happy to score. I think he's going to take a lot of pressure off Santi, and I could see he and Santi working a little bit better than people might expect right out of the gate here and having some really good chemistry. And if that's working, Barnes is going to roll with what's working, and he's not going to rush Cai back, especially in the lineup in heavy minutes. Like that's actually the best of both worlds for Tennessee. If Cai doesn't need to start and Freddie is playing at a really good level, like if Dalton ends up starting, it's because he's playing better than Jahmai, and like that's a good thing because that was a big transfer portal win. So it's like if Dalton's in the starting lineup, guess what? That means Tennessee hit on that transfer, and that he's a really important player because he has a higher upside than Jahmai. We all love Jahmai Mashack and what he did, but like, I mean, if Tennessee is going to make a Final Four run, I think there's a better path to Dalton Knecht being the 3 in that scenario than Jahmai, but. Josiah Jordan-James, I don't think we'll start. I just think there's going to be a lot of different matchups, but I do think the first one to start with was Dalton because I'm curious to see how that goes. Maybe he wins it outright in camp, though. Maybe it's something where he plays better with the starters than Jahmai does, and we see Dalton. But I think that is the first big matchup here is Dalton versus Jahmai because I think it's down to those two at the 3.
I agree. Fully agree.
Not DJ Jefferson here.
You don't think Josiah is going to be... Or do you think Josiah is going to start anywhere, Chase?
No, I don't. I don't think. You don't think
they're going to implement small ball ever?
Yeah.
Oh, Walker Adu every time.
Yeah, he's going to Walker Adu. Like, there's no way Barnes is not starting that way.
I would be very surprised.
I think that's the opening day starting lineup for sure.
Yeah,
but I don't know how long it lasts.
I would be very surprised if both Dalton and Mashack are over Josiah at the 3. I would think they'd move Mashack.
No, I would not be surprised.
Yeah. Really?
Well, I think I would be more surprised if Ledlum was still in the lineup because Ledlum can't play. Like, Ledlum can only be at the 4. So, like, if you want to get Josiah minutes and if he's back in this scenario and Ledlum's still here, I think Ledlum, I would say that Josiah would have to play a lot of 3 because there's no room. Like, if you're going to do Ledlum, Tobe, and Jonas, like, that's just, Ledlum can't move up. Like, Josiah is the only versatile, quote unquote, big in this scenario. So he would have to slide up to the 3. But because they're kind of thinner there now, and I'm sure Barnes has no interest in playing JP Estrella a lot of minutes as a freshman, then
maybe I think JP Estrella sees the court, and
I think he does too. But I don't think Barnes wants to. I don't think that was Barnes' plan. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think Josiah does not have a path to starting right out of the gate, and I think he plays more 4 than anything. I don't think
that's surprising. I'm not sure I'm convinced that he's going to start, but I do think that's surprising that you don't think there's a path for him to start with just Barnes's whole thing. I mean, I've been harping on it for 10 minutes now. Just Barnes's whole thing with familiarity. I really find it surprising that you don't think he'll find stuff. I mean, he's the oldest guy on the team.
Yeah. But I think there's more spunk, like him coming in off the bench, especially without Zakai. Like, he's fine as a lead ball handler. I think there might be some with Zakai out to start the year. I think the smart play is to let him run the second unit and to run first guy out, bring the ball up a lot, take the pressure off Santi and stuff. I think there's more value bringing Josiah off the bench than anybody else.
Fair. I mean, I've already said it basically, but I think there's a path to him starting. I just think it's at the 4, not the 3.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand. And it'd be a small lineup for Tennessee, which is not what we see Rick Barnes implement a lot. And that's why I don't think it'll happen at the very beginning of the season, but maybe by the time SEC play rolls around.
Yeah, we'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of lineups. I think that's unavoidable.
Yes,
that's what I'm most excited about. I think there
needs to be a lot of Toby at the 5, man. I think Toby at the 5 makes this lineup so interesting because you got the talent of Mashack, of James, of likely Knecht to be able to move that versatility around. I think that creates a lot of possibility. I like Jonas. I do. I just think that Tobe is the better option at the 5. Unless you're going up against, Armando Bacot or something like that.
I'm not really worried about him. I'm not worried about Armando Bacot after what we saw this past year. Tennessee's not really sweating that matchup. Jack, as we wrap up here tonight, here on Good Big Orange Friday, your birthday is going to be here in like an hour. So, we got to get out of here before Jack officially turns 21. Luke Holman, Drew Beam, not a closer, we found out. That's why we've always called him a starter. Drew Beam's only a starter. He's not a closer. And
doesn't know his ABCs, does he?
He does not. He is not always closing. And Luke Holman, former Alabama ace, now LSU ace. He makes the jump, following Paul Skeens to be the next just dominant Tiger arm that drives us all mad next spring. So it came down to Tennessee and LSU. Tennessee does not wind up with Holman. What does this mean for Tennessee and their rotation going forward, Jack?
It hurts.